Thick dust, deep potholes and 640 horsepower. That's Armin Schwarz's new work environment. We accompany the former European rally champion on one of his hardest races, the Prim 300, 463 kilometers through the desert. There's a week to go until the race. In an industrial park in Escondido, California, lies an inconspicuous garage. For months, the three-man team from All German Motorsport has been sweating and working here on 2 buggies for the Prim 300. Team leader and second driver is 40-year-old Martin Christensen. The Dane has been taking part in desert races for 14 years and won the legendary Baja 1000 with his experienced crew. He has developed and built his buggy himself.
Almost every component on this car is fully hand-built, and everything else is very, very unique to each individual car. So you can buy components like transmission, dampeners and stuff like that, but even the dampeners are very specific. You probably couldn't take these dampeners off of any car or off of this car and bolt it on any other car. They're very specific for this particular vehicle. This is definitely not something where you can just go out and buy it off the shelf and then bolt it together. It would never work.
The result is a real monster. The buggy's chassis consists of a massive chrome and molybdenum tube frame. With the tough demands that will be placed on the car, it's important that it isn't just light, but more importantly, stable. Suspension travel of up to 90 centimeters should iron out countless potholes. For the engine, the team is relying on Bavarian power. An adapted 8-cylinder from the BMW M5 provides an output of 640 horsepower here.
We are the only one that runs a BMW engine in the off-road circuit. I think that this small displacement, because there's only 5 liters, and 5 liters for a normal street car in Germany will be big, but for off-road racing, that's actually really small displacement. I would say most of the cars are at least, 5.7 liter or above. I mean, there is nothing in this class that prevents us from putting a 10-liter engine in that makes 1,000 horsepower. It will be very easy and a lot less expensive than this engine, but I don't think it will work as good for the application that we're doing and trying to win races.
The last test drive with the second buggy on a public road. It is to be hoped that none of his neighbors call the police, because even in the USA, a monster like this isn't street legal. At full throttle, the buggy goes from 0 to 100 in 4.5 seconds, regardless of the road surface. The top speed is 220 on sand.
It's good. Car is nice. Feels good. It's always a little bit strange driving these things on pavement because they're not built for that. And but car is nice. OOL preparation is ready, and now we are ready for Prim.
In the middle of the Mojave Desert lies Prim, a sleepy little town 70 kilometers away from Las Vegas. But when the off-road circus comes to town, the sand trembles. 8-cylinder engines throb and the smell of petrol hangs in the air. Around 280 teams will fight a bitter, dusty battle over 463 kilometers. The all-German Motorsport team has set up its training camp in the middle of the desert to test under real conditions. Not all sand is the same. Every road surface has its own qualities to which the car has to be configured. Armin discusses the settings with second driver and team leader Martin Christensen.
Fühlt sich gut an?
It feels good. We've increased the revs a little, so that gives it more output at the top. On the fast stretches at Prim, it's important that we have good output at the top. We only have a few sandy places where we need a lot of torque. In the end, it's more important that we have more performance at top. Armin has been hooked ever since he drove this buggy for the first time in 2006. There are some parallels to the World Rally Championship, however, other things are more unconventional. Overtaking, you have to knock, because of course you have a great deal of dust behind you. So the guy in front has no idea what's happening behind him. When I come to overtake, I have to pretty much drive into the back of him so that he knows that there's somebody there. And that's why the cars all have such a massive push bar. That's what this is called. And you can see that it's well supported. It's also well smashed in. We've used it often. We ram this part pretty much into the other guy's tail so that he knows, oh, there's somebody behind me. And then usually they make room, but not all of them. Those that won't make room, we keep pushing until it gets too fast for them and then they move aside too. Visibility is a big problem for the drivers.
Rock, 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 rock!
The cause is the thick dust which robs the drivers of both sight and air. But there are solutions for that too. Supply line for the helmet air supply. And in the end, it's important that we get fresh air during the trip because, if necessary, we drive for a very long time in the dust behind someone. You can't see anything, but at least you have to be able to breathe properly. We also have a brilliant filter system in there. There are small compressors inside which draw in the air, purify it, and blow it into the helmet. The fine grains of sand aren't just bad for humans, but also for every vehicle. So that the V8 can draw in clean and dust-free air, the buggy possesses a large K&N air filter. This is made of cotton wool, which is kept in shape by a light aluminium mesh. So that the desert dust sticks to as large an area as possible, both materials are folded together. The trimmed filter is put into a mold with quick-setting polyurethane adhesive. The edges are trimmed clean before the filter is sprayed with a special oil. Particles of dust and dirt are caught in the filter and so don't get into the intake system. But the desert has more to offer than dust. Potholes up to 1 meter deep are the other great challenge for the buggy. Shocks and springs will be stressed to the max over the 300 miles. Extra large oil tanks cool the oil in the shock absorbers, and each wheel is equipped with 2 springs lying on top of each other. To be able to realize the spring travel of almost 1 meter, the buggy uses special Eibach springs. The starting material is high-quality spring steel. In a machine called a coiler, the steel is wound into its spiral shape. The coiled spring then spends around 25 minutes at 400 degrees in a tempering furnace. This relaxes the steel so that the spring won't break later. Next, countless small steel balls are fired at the spring to double its life. The ends are sanded so that the spiral fits into the right place in the buggy. They are thoroughly cleaned in a phosphorus bath. All grease is removed and they're dried. A powder coating protects the springs from dirt, water, and all the other demands of a desert rally. So that they can get used to their future daily life, they are fully compressed once. An unplanned stop in the last test run. A sharp stone has ripped the tire, and that despite several carbon inlays in the tread and sides. A tire change on the buggy is a lot easier for the driver than in a World Rally car. For a tire change, the co-driver jumps out. The driver stays inside. In a WRC car, you'd help, because you've got to watch, put the jack underneath, and so on, so that it goes faster. Here, the co-driver does more. My co-driver, luckily Brian, also prepares the car, so he knows exactly what could be wrong with the car, what it would be, how to repair it. And so, in principle, I have the perfect co-driver for off-road races who knows the track well, who reads well, who can handle the whole thing well, and who can also repair the car, so it can't get better than that. Changing the 30-kilo tire took barely 1.5 minutes. The crew is happy. Everyone spends the last evening before the race at a barbecue. Most of the team members are there voluntarily. Just like at the World Rally Championship, the drivers at the Prim 300 are allowed to drive the route once before the race. We've made some pace notes, rally notes. You can't use them everywhere because you often go into free terrain where 30 tracks appear at once, and first you drive left, then you see that it's too bumpy, and then we go right off to the right, and that's better. Then you say, let's drive in the middle. Then you come out on the left in the end, and it's all the same track, but we've pre-arranged a course that we want to and will drive. And the car works well. You can see the team is relaxed, the cars are prepared, and yes, now we have until 1 o'clock tomorrow, and then it starts. The next day, the starting line resembles a fair. The whole kit and caboodle marvel at the off-road race cars. The first to start are the so-called trophy trucks. With up to 7 liters displacement and 850 horsepower, they're the fastest on the starting grid. Armin starts immediately after in his buggy, in pole position of the Class 1 Unlimited category, so he has to push past the faster pickups if he wants to win a place on the podium.
Minus 30, tightens 3 over crust and left 2 to 3 after crust.
For the next 2 hours and 231 kilometers, it's going to be dust, dust, and more dust. At the start, Armin can drive at a fast pace. The track is still in good condition, but with every car, the grooves in the course get wider and the potholes deeper.
30, caution, through gate, left 2 tight.
The first trophy truck comes into reach. Armin and his co-driver Brian can't see him yet, but they're already in his dust cloud.
Deep, right 4, very long. Straight, 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 straight.
Armin gets closer and closer to the trophy truck, but the dust also gets thicker with every meter. Even our camera feels the effects. In some places, the spectators stand less than 2 meters from the track. It's rare to be as close as you can be here. Armin has caught up with the driver ahead of him, but the truck drivers can't see the buggy behind them for all the dust. Now it's a question of getting past as quickly as possible.
Perfect.
Lucky. Armin regularly passes his current position to the team. That way they always know exactly whether he's driving or if he has a problem.
Chief, the corrected time should be 101 and 119, and speed is car 100.
Radio messages are received in the pit by Martin's wife, Jane. Additionally, a GPS program shows the current position of the car. A team outpost passes on the current positions.
Cool. They're saying that our car is the only car through pit B on the third lap here. So we are definitely both physically and my notes are not that accurate. Both physically and in the lead at this time, probably with 2 or 3 minutes.
The motto is, give everything. As long as the track conditions are still good, the team has to gain time and placings.
And left 4.
In the pit, the crew is getting ready. Change drivers, fill up, check and repair the car for light damage. This should all happen within 1 minute. Martin Christensen will take over the wheel from Armin.
I think they're up there still.
After 231 kilometers, the all-German motorsport team comes to the pit. Armin is completely exhausted. In just a few seconds, both 110-liter tanks are full again. The buggy uses 140 liters over 100 kilometers. Armin has to fill up urgently too. Even minutes after the pit stop, the former European rally champion still can't speak for exhaustion.
It takes a lot, huh? Yeah.
Yes, it was just as I'd imagined. I knew that it would be like that. The first lap goes relatively well, the second lap is hard. You'd never in a million years believe when you started previously that it could be so hard. And the worst is driving in the dust. You drive 30 or 40 kilometers in the dust and you don't manage to catch up. But you can't let up at all. If you let up, you'll never catch the guy in front. You have to bite hard like a terrier and not let go. Team leader Martin Christensen and his co-driver now have to hold the lead that Armin Schwarz has gained. A difficult undertaking, because the more cars that rake up the 116-kilometer course, the worse the track conditions become. The potholes take the suspension to its limits. Martin demands everything of the buggy and even closes the gap once more.
Push the arm! Push the arm! I am. Up here it says stay right. There's two lines right here as well. Go, go.
With this overtaking maneuver, Martin has driven up to third place. One more lap before the finish line, another 100 kilometers of eating sand. But suddenly there's a radio message from the cockpit.
Hey, it's because the cars are overheating and the shocks are gone. We'll slow it down a little bit and we're going to keep up here as soon as we find out.
Jane is shocked and tries to calm her husband.
Car 101, it's been 8 minutes since you came through pit A, no class 1 yet. You have at least 8 minutes physical.
Okay, I need no more updates until there is a change. I'm driving the car at 80%. You give me updates if I need to change.
For the last kilometers, that means driving as carefully as on ice. The shock absorbers are broken and the opponents are hot on their heels. Nothing else is allowed to go wrong now. The camera helicopters land, preparations around the finish line. The first trophy truck crosses the line, but where's Martin and his buggy? Martin has actually done it. He is the first to take his buggy over the finishing line, a clear class victory. Along with the broken shocks, a back wheel has also bitten the dust. But that doesn't matter now. The main thing is that the boys achieved their goal. After 4.5 hours, the all-German motorsport team hasn't just driven in an impressive class win, they even managed to overtake the second-place trophy truck. Because of the tire damage, it caught up with them again shortly before the finish line. Nevertheless, an unbelievable third place overall.
A good one for us. Probably going to be a good one for us.
The finishing rate is less than 35% usually in these type of races. So a lot of people show up with really, really expensive, well-prepared cars and never make it. It takes a lot of driving, a lot of preparation and good teamwork to just even finish it. And then to come out and win the race is unbelievable, you know? Unbelievable.
Well, I think the last 1.5 laps we didn't have very much of our shock absorbers left, because the track really became so tough that everything was roasting. And it was such an effort for everyone to haul the last remnants of the cars in here, and they just have to see what placing they end up with. But this is a race, it's not high-tech. A little thing breaks breaks down and you push it around the corner and it won't go any further. But you also have a chance with bigger defects.
1, 2, 3,